More than 24 passengers from 12 different countries, possibly exposed to the hantavirus on board the MV Hondias cruise ship, already on the move around the world. The cruise company Oceanwide Expeditions confirming that 29 passengers got off the ship at St. Helena and one body was removed after the first leg of the cruise on April 24th, 10 days before the first official hantavirus case was confirmed.
While this is a serious incident, WHO assesses the public health risk as low.
Those who disembarked early on include 6 passengers from the United States. Oceanwide says all those who got off the ship have been contacted by the cruise company.
Given the incubation period of the Andes virus, which can be up to 6 weeks, it's possible that more cases may be reported.
Authorities are still trying to get a handle on the exact movements of the Dutch couple they believe is at the center of the outbreak, the first 2 people to die.
Prior to boarding the ship, the first 2 cases had traveled through Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay on a birdwatching trip, which included visits to sites where the species of rat that's known to carry Andes virus was present.
None of the people on board are showing symptoms of the virus, health officials say, but cases and suspected cases around the world are rising.
When people are very symptomatic, particularly with fever, that is when they are most infectious for this virus.
In Switzerland, a man on the same flight as the 69-year-old Dutch woman who died after collapsing in the airport is also in the hospital. In Singapore, 2 people from the ship are isolating and awaiting test results. In Canada, 3 people are asymptomatic and self-isolating. 8 French nationals are also being tested after contact with a passenger who tested positive for hantavirus. And in Germany, a passenger from the ship was whisked away to the hospital by ambulance to quarantine. Here in the U.S., 2 passengers from Georgia, 2 from Texas, 1 from Arizona, another from Virginia, and an undisclosed number of people from California are all being monitored by their state health departments. That includes daily temperature checks. None of these people are officially in quarantine. Those on board are isolating in their cabin rooms and being asked to wear a mask when they leave. The ship is expected to arrive in Tenerife in Spain's Canary Islands this weekend. It won't anchor in the port, though. Smaller boats will ferry passengers in to minimize risk. When the 13 passengers and 1 crew member from Spain disembark, they will immediately be taken to this hospital in Madrid to quarantine. Meantime, authorities continue to insist there is no cause for alarm.
This is not SARS-CoV-2. This is not the start of a COVID pandemic. It doesn't spread the same way like coronaviruses do. It's very different. It's that close, intimate contact that we've seen.
Randy, it sounds like Spain has a plan with the rest of the passengers quarantine. Will they quarantine when they get off the ship Sunday morning in the Canary Islands?
It's a good question, Anderson. No official plan has been made public. It seems like it's still a work in progress. We know that the World Health Organization is recommending isolation for confirmed and suspected cases, those people who have symptoms. And then they're recommending active monitoring for those who may have been exposed. But the question is, what does that active monitoring mean? They're leaving it up to the countries to decide, is that a full quarantine, or do people just have to self-report any symptoms? Now, the World Health Organization is also still working with these various countries to try and figure out the safest way also to get these passengers home. And Anderson, is worth noting, because of all the concern about a possible spread and the number of cases and suspected cases that are still rising, that the World Health Organization said today that this reminds them of something that happened back in 2018. There was an outbreak in Argentina that ended up with just 34 cases. So they said that they don't expect this to be a very large epidemic. It feels very familiar to them, Anderson.
Well, that sounds good. Randy, appreciate it. Thanks. I want to bring Dr. Craig Spencer. He's an emergency medicine physician, public health researcher as well, who's affiliated with Brown University's Pandemic Center. Dr. Spencer also knows infection and contact tracing firsthand. He caught and survived Ebola back in 2014. It's good to see you again, Doctor. So in your opinion, do you think health officials in the U.S. globally are doing enough to prevent the outbreak of this? Are you concerned about this kind of an outbreak of hantavirus?
Well, thanks for having me. Look, I'm not particularly concerned about hantavirus, and I think the risk to the average American is remarkably low. There are a lot of other things that are more concerning to me on a daily basis. What I'm concerned about here is what this represents about our preparedness, particularly with the World Cup right around the corner. And I was on your show a year ago and I talked about what was going to happen when we tore apart our disease detection infrastructure around the world and here in the United States. And since then, we've defunded, we've gotten rid of USAID that hosted critical relationships to do that surveillance and detect diseases exactly like this around the world. The NIH, in the meantime, has cut funding to a center that was studying this exact hantavirus. CDC disease detectives have been fired and rehired multiple times. Our Office of Pandemic Preparedness is empty and without a budget. And we have cut off our relationships with the World Health Organization to the point that CDC had to get an exemption to even talk to the WHO right now, who is largely leading this response. And because of all of those things, we find ourselves flat-footed, and we're lucky that it's not something more concerning. I think we have incredible folks at the CDC, but just like in fire departments across the country, we would never expect firefighters to work without hoses and water and to take away their training and expect that they're going to be able to respond to any fire just as quickly and as well as they could before. We've done the same with our ability to respond to things like this, and I think we're going to end up seeing the consequences.
I mean, it's incredible, just the catalog of sort of the devastation of our public health resources that you've just cataloged. I want to also bring in former CDC Director, Dr. Tom Frieden. Dr. Frieden, can you just explain how this particular strain of the hantavirus, the Andes strain, is spread? And yeah, I mean, how is it spread? How contagious is it actually?
We're learning more about this virus all the time. The bottom line here is that hollowing out the CDC and walking away from the World Health Organization makes Americans less safe. This is one of a large number of microbes that can change unpredictably. What we're seeing here, hantavirus, is actually a very wide range of viruses, 50 different types of virus. Even within those types, there are subtypes. And it's one of the viruses that changes relatively quickly. It can mix and match different strains of the virus. So what you really worry about is a virus that has a high case fatality rate, it kills people, and it spreads easily. What we're seeing so far is that it has a high case fatality rate in the other outbreaks, but so far it seems like spread requires fairly close contact.
You've been briefed on the virus.
Yes, I have.
Can you tell us what you learned in these briefings?
Well, I think you're going to be told everything, and you already have. It's very much, we hope, under control. It was the ship, and I think we're going to make a full report about it tomorrow. We have a lot of people, a lot of great people are studying it. It should be fine. We hope.
Should Americans be concerned that it's going to spread? And how are you
I hope not. I mean, I hope not. We'll do the best we can.
播报新闻是我的日常，必须时刻保持妆容和皮肤的最佳状态。当来到人生中最重要的时刻，也是 KS 逆时奇迹帮助我轻松驾驭，闪闪发光。KS 逆时奇迹活肤露全效精华、精华霜，多达5种 EGF 6大冻龄关键成分，保湿效果让我非常满意，小细纹也不再困扰我。我就是我自己的最佳女主角 ，KS 让我从容自信，光彩动人。我是我人生中的大女主，我的最爱我做主。KS 逆时奇迹系列热卖中，下单请上快点购，透过中天新闻网 App 下单立减50，或输入 CTI 推荐码有额外折扣。